truck, and we're going to have a look at this battery setup that I have in my truck. It's something I've done for my purposes. Everybody will be a little bit different, but I'll show you what I've done, how I've set up my solar system, how I've set up my batteries for my own personal use. So let's go for a bit of a wander. We'll go check out the battery system. Welcome to my F100. As you can see, it's a pretty old car. I think it's about 78, 79 model. I think it's 79 model F100. Dual battery system set up in the engine bay. This one here is my primary battery, which I'll call battery number 1. It's an Optima battery, which is quite good. Connected through a solenoid, which is down over there in the engine bay near the battery booster. And my second battery is over here. So as soon as I turn the accessory key switch on, both batteries come on and both batteries start the starter motor. But that's my main battery. I run my main winch on the main battery simply because when I run the winch, the car is usually running. The engine's running. On the second battery, I have a secondary winch, which I have a hoist on the back, a crane on the back for picking up firewood. And I have a secondary winch on this battery here, which sometimes I run so that I don't tax the first battery, battery number 1. I'm using battery number 2, so that I can always got power to charge to start my engine up when I'm winching after I finish winching for firewood for the crane at the back. So 2 independent systems. The motor in this F100 is a Perkins 6247 diesel, which is about a 4.1 litre, and it goes very, very, very nicely. I'm very happy. Naturally aspirated. A bit slow going up the hills, but it gets me there. I just dropped in a couple of gears and it gets me there. So there are 2 batteries. Primary battery number 1 runs the starter motor and the winch, and battery number 2, when the engine's running, also runs the winch and the starter motor because the accessory is on. So I've got 2 batteries to start the engine and to run my main winch. The second battery also runs just my crane winch, which is on the back of the truck, which I'll show you a little bit later on, independent from the first battery because I've got the accessory switched off. Over here, as you can see, I've got a little cigarette plug, 12-volt plug that runs off the second battery, and that runs my shower for the kids and have a shower and so forth. So that runs there into the shower behind us over here. It's a shower tent in front of the vehicle, and that's how I run with 2 batteries in the front of the car. But I'll show you the other batteries, the deep cycle batteries. These are both crank current batteries. They're both crank batteries, so that's what I use to run the winch off and crank the car with. I'll come around the back, we'll go around the back and we'll have a look at the other battery. As you can see, this is my AGM battery. We call this battery number 3. And this battery supplies all my lights and so forth for camping. This is charged through a CTEC unit, which is under the truck, which is connected to the solar panels on the roof of the truck. I have all my circuit breakers down below. Some are auto reset circuit breakers and some of them are just fixed so that if something goes terribly wrong I can reset it. But essentially most of my camp gear comes through here. I've got it connected through an amp meter. At the moment I'm not drawing any power, but I can also connect a portable solar panel through here and recharge my battery as well, as that's connected to the CTEC unit. The reason why I've connected the CTEC unit underneath and not in the canopy of the truck, I'll show you the canopy in a minute, is because of the temperature that the canopy can reach. I think by memory this CTEC unit's only good at operating temperatures of up to 50 degrees Celsius. Most domestic and commercial electronics are only good to operate at about 50-55 degrees, so the weakest link might be 50 degrees Celsius. That's what's mounted under the truck, so it has good ventilation. It won't get that ventilation inside the canopy, and the canopy can or does exceed those temperatures. So I keep that there. A couple of cigarette plugs on externally. At the moment I have my external lights connected there, and my water tank filler is over here, just next to the. I painted that black just to keep it inconspicuous, so that you don't really see it. But that's my third battery. It's about a 90 ampere hour battery, deep cycle AGM battery. That's basically the setup I've got under the truck, and it allows the good ventilation, good cooling, and keeps it out of the weather, out of the rain. I don't do much river crossing, so I don't really have problems with submerging this underwater. But certainly It is dust proof and it is rain proof, water resistant. What it isn't is, you know, deep waterproof. It won't go under the water very, very well, these ones. But, you know, you can mount them, probably best to mount them outside the canopy rather than inside. Okay, up on the roof, I have my solar panels up on the roof rack. I've got 4 panels that totals 120 watts. Sorry, 120 watts per 2 panels, 240 watts for 4 panels. That just basically, you can see up in the trees, it's fairly broken light, so I'm not going to get a lot of power from the panels up here. But certainly I'm running my fridge on gas at the moment, so I don't really need a lot of power for the fridge, just a bit of lighting. But on the other side, I'll show you in a minute, I have a sunset switch, which I bought, I think it was from J-Car or one of the electronic shops, and I've run that through a relay so that I could run my fridge inside the truck. In the centre console, I had a fridge as a centre console. I used to run that for drinks, which didn't work too well, but I'll show you that in a minute. As you can see, that little box there is a little sunset switch, or a little light dependent switch, which I think I bought from J-Car or one of those places. It might have been J-Car, might have been about $20 or something like that. And I've got that connected so that when light levels drop off at night time, it will turn off a couple of cigarette plugs in the truck, which I used to use for a fridge. So that there will control, I'll show you there, to control that little relay that you see with the green light. It controls that relay at day and night time. So at night time, when the sun goes down low, I'm not taking power from my number 3 battery. I'm actually drawing power from inside the truck. So I'll show you that in a minute. Over here I've got 4 cigarette plugs. That's 2 on one side and 2 on the other. These 2 here are permanently connected to the 3rd battery, to the AGM battery. So is this one. But these ones here go through the sunset switch. So at night time, when the light levels drop and the relay turns off, it turns these two cigarette plugs off. And the reason why is that I had a drinks fridge in here. Now my drinks fridge will plug in here, and during the day it would run, so I kept my drinks nice and cold, but at night time it will turn off, so it wouldn't drain the other batteries at night time. But what I used to have there is this plug here, used to run my batteries. Another set of batteries I got in the back here, battery number 4. I made a battery box up, so I'll show you that in a minute. And I used to plug this battery box in here, which used to charge up during the day, because at night time it's isolated. It will charge up during the day. My fridge will run up here during the day, and will take about 1/3 of the power from this plug and 2/3 from the battery number 3, the 3rd AGM battery. And I have my fridge plugged in here, and at night time it will isolate the main AGM battery and would run off my 4th battery pack, which I got in the back here, in the back seat. So that was basically the idea. It didn't quite work out as I planned, because the thermal fridges aren't very efficient. They draw a lot of power, and they would drain both batteries quite a bit. So that didn't work as I expected. But as you can see, my daughters have got their iPads connected to the AGM. It's now charging at 9.28 amps. 9.11 volts. I think we might have to turn that up, Bianca. I think we're using a bit too much power. Let's see what the voltage is for a minute. Oh no, it's 12.5 volts. 12.5. Not as high as I'd like it to be, but it's drawing a bit of power. Okay. But as you can see, the girls are charging their iPads, and they so that's the cigarette plugs I have here. This one here runs off the cigarette lighter, so I run my GPS off the cigarette lighter. So as soon as I turn the accessory on, the GPS comes on, and that just controls that with a few USB ports in there as well. I need them. Eventually I do want to put some more up here, because I have some other cameras that I want to connect up there. I just haven't gotten around to putting more plugs up here, but I'll do that. I'll do it in the near future. Oh, whenever you're ready, Binky, you can cut. So the way the charging system works on this truck is that when you turn the ignition on, the starter motor goes on, turns your engine over, the alternator is running, it charges both battery number 1, which is your main starter battery, battery number 2, which is the secondary auxiliary battery that the truck has in the front of in the engine bay. It also charges your third and your fourth battery. It charges the third battery through the CTEC unit if the battery needs power. It also charges the fourth battery in the cab, which is a battery bank that I made up of, I think, 4 12 ampere hour batteries, which gives me an extra 48 ampere hour on top of the 90 ampere hour I have. Now with the solar system, when I'm parked up and the engine's not running, is that the solar system charges the main AGM battery that's down below through the CTEC unit. Once that battery is fully charged, then it switches over to the second battery. The second battery, well, it actually charges this battery, and it charges the battery number 4 inside the truck as well at the same time. When they're full, it charges the second battery. Switches over to the second battery and charges that one there. If I want to charge the first battery as well, all I've got to do is turn the auxiliary, the relay comes on, and both batteries charge. Both starter batteries charge, and that's the way the system's set. Solar's not very efficient, like I said, only 20%, but it's enough power to be able to charge all those batteries. But first it charges 2 batteries, battery number 4 and battery number 3, and when they're fully charged, then it switches over to battery number 2. And if I want battery number 1 charged, then I can switch over the relay, the accessory on the key, and it connects both batteries in parallel, and it charges both my starter batteries. So that's the way the battery systems run. We'll look at the canopy in a minute and see how the canopy works. We're going to summarise this video and talk about any new options that we have available to us when we go forward driving and camping. One of the options that's obvious to everybody is electricity, solar panels, batteries, so forth. We also have gas, natural gas. Most people that go camping use gas in one form or another. Some people use diesel fuel in their RVs, and they heat water heaters with diesel. There's no reason why you can't heat with diesel. Through-way fridges generally run off natural gas, 12 volt and 240 volt. All they do is produce heat to heat the ammonia to separate the hydrogen, which then cools down the fridge. Another option would be to use diesel. You don't necessarily use 12 volt electricity all the time. When you're camped there for a few days, like we are here under the trees, you're not going to get a lot of light, direct sunlight onto your solar panels. You will get broken light and so forth, but the intensity of light, which is what is important on solar panels, you won't get that under the canopy of trees, so your output tends to be reduced somewhat to charge your batteries. Another thing too with batteries is when you're charging batteries and you first start off, because it's a chemical reaction, they start off slowly and then the curve gradually increases as the battery electrolyte heats up, then tapers off. So heat energy in a battery will accelerate the charge, and that's why you have a bulk charge section there when you charge a battery, because as the battery heats up, it accepts more charge. Or just accepts more charge, the hydrogen is expelled from the lead plates a lot quicker, more readily, more easily. But there's no reason why you can't have a fridge that runs off diesel, for example. If your truck runs off diesel and you're able to run your fridge off the truck fuel lines, or somewhere tap into the diesel fuel line somewhere, there's no reason why you can't run the fridge off diesel and not have to worry about charging your battery all the time. You can be in the one spot for 3, 4, 5, 6 days under the canopy of trees and still have a fridge that operates quite efficiently. Granted, in summer the ammonia fridges aren't as good as in autumn and winter and in spring. On a very hot day they can become very efficient and very troublesome. But if you level the fridges out, which is what's important, because you've got to have the flow effect of hydrogen and the ammonia and everything running through in heating and cooling for them to run efficiently. But basically summing up, batteries, yeah, they're great. They're not the be all and end all, but they are great. If you're camped in the one spot, trying to keep them charged sometimes can be problematic, especially if you're under the canopy of some trees. If you've got direct sunlight, you're in direct sun, it's a little bit easier. But under the canopy of trees can be more problematic. But yeah, one thing to remember is that Not necessarily when you put 100 amps into a battery you're going to get 100 amps out. You're going to get less because there are battery efficiencies involved. And once the battery ages and the lead plates start to deteriorate, that efficiency level drops, and so eventually you're going to end up with less and less power coming out of your lead acid battery. Well, we hope you enjoyed this informative session, technical session on Walkabout Adventures. If you have any comments, put them down below. Any questions, put them down below. We'll be more than happy to answer when we get to